Hey everyone, welcome back to episode 14 of Career Path with OA. I am Omar Abedin, and today we're going to talk about my stint with the National Incubation Center in Karachi as a project director. I joined the NIC in 2021, and the goal of the NIC, like all the incubation centers in Pakistan, is to promote early stage entrepreneurship and teach people how to build startups and how to create interesting businesses that are ultimately investable. The NIC Karachi has many fantastic startups in its portfolio, as it were. So, for example, Kia was incubated at NIC in the very first cohort, and there are a number of other large and interesting companies that started their journey at NIC. It's a phenomenal place. If you haven't visited, you should go. It's based at inside the NED University. It's a beautiful custom-built space, and it was managed by LMKR Group in conjunction with the government. So the job was amazing. Every day I got to meet startups, I got to talk to founders. We held literally 100+ events every year. We ran hackathons. We ran public and private events for different companies and different groups of people that had interest in what was happening. It was in many ways it was a dream job. I think in my time with NIC, I met close to 500+ startups. I'd say closer to 1,000 startups, because every day I was meeting 8 or 10 startups, either from within the current cohort or earlier cohorts, people who come in for something, or people looking to join the NIC, or just people looking for advice. And at the same time, I was working on PTH startups, helping them to build sustainable businesses. This was all declared in writing to LMKR, and there were no conflicts. So the challenges started coming in when the government, unfortunately, was not able to meet its commitments, and salaries started getting delayed. And obviously, I always used to insist that my staff, my team, got paid, because as the leader of the team, you're the last person to get their salary if things are late. But when it happened for a couple of months in a row, I started getting really irritated, because it's not right. And unfortunately, this is a norm in Pakistan. Salaries are not paid on time, and in some Pakistani companies, salaries are running 3 to 4 months behind schedule, and this is unacceptable. You pay your employees to do a job. If you want to treat them like slaves, it's not on. It's not right. It is not acceptable under any conditions to do that. So I started getting into a lot of arguments, both with LMKR teams, as well as with the government body Ignite, that is responsible for releasing funds. They had a lot of internal issues. Their own agreements ended. They had to restart their bank accounts, and things got delayed, and this is just a combination of bureaucracy and, I don't know, incompetence. You know, you're a government entity, part of the Ministry of IT, and you don't have a bank account. You can't transfer funds. Your budgets are held up by bureaucratic bullshit. People's salaries are not being paid. Rental checks are being delayed. Like, come on, this is unacceptable. And I realized that working for a government entity or semi-government entity is not for me. A little while into the session, I had actually met with a group of people who were curious about venture capital, and they came in and wanted to know, how does VC work. They represented a very large local group, and as luck would have it, they came up and said, hey, we're starting a VC fund and we'd like you to come and join us. And I said yes, but that is a story for the next video. The NIC team was rife with politics. It was not a very big team. That's the funny thing. It was, you know, only about 15 people in total. But even within that, there was a lot of infighting, a lot of unhappiness. I had a number of occasions where team members, particularly female team members, would show up in my office in tears, complaining about the behavior of, you know, one or two people. And it was surprisingly challenging to you know, straighten those things up and try and build a culture based on trust and mutual respect. It took some work, and you know, it worked out eventually. The team has grown from strength to strength. Everyone who's worked at the NIC at some point or was part of the team has more or less moved onto other jobs in other organizations and are doing very well. Asfar went to Hyderabad as a project director for the new NIC there, and then came back and is now, mashallah, the director of NIC Karachi. So he can, you know, he can stop the commute to Hyderabad, which I'm sure he's very happy with. And as far as, you know, just a pillar of the entrepreneurial ecosystem in Karachi, he's very helpful to all and sundry. Everyone who approaches him for help, he's always there to help. Sana has joined a private organization, but again working towards empowerment of entrepreneurs through a company called Asher Tech. I think they're based at the NASTP on Shara Faisal. And so many other members of the team. Majid was one of the people that I talked to almost every 2 hours. He ran administration and a really hardworking guy. We really cleaned up building number 2, got things into ship shape. There were a number of petty administrative issues that we dealt with. Dealing with the NED management was always fun because they were our landlord, and we had to. The only way we could pay them was when the government paid us, because the rent was quite high. So things were always fraught. One time they came and put a lock on the NIC door, or threatened to put a lock on the NIC door, and things are a little contentious at times, but managing through all of that, managing the Ignite team, partnering with the Ignite team actually was kind of a bit of a dichotomy, because the people there are great, but the processes at Ignite are difficult. And it's the organization has a fantastic mandate, but unfortunately, because of all the challenges, the bureaucratic hurdles, it makes things very difficult to get anything done. And it doesn't help that every ministry in Pakistan seems to have their own focus on incubation or entrepreneurship. So the Ministry of Economy is doing their own thing, the Ministry of Education is doing their own thing through the BICs at the universities and the university campuses, and the Ministry of IT is doing all the NICs, and then the government of Punjab is doing the what we call the mini NICs. I mean, it's just a little bit of a mess. I wish that there was a national strategy around the entrepreneurial program, and this remains an open offer from my side to anyone in the government that needs help. I'm willing to help you set up this whole ecosystem strategy, and there are amazing players that will work with you in the ecosystem. You know, people like Jahan Ara from Catalyst Labs, people like I2I Ventures. They will, they have a lot of insight, they have a lot of information. They can help you to structure this in a way that you're not competing with each other for scarce resources and not making poor resource allocation decisions. The other thing that I think you really should think about doing is the fund that you've been trying to activate for a number of years. It's kind of a joke that a country the size of Pakistan cannot set up a $10 million or $20 million early stage investment fund that is properly managed and run without corruption, without fear of misallocation of resources. So, I'm available to help. Please reach out if you need help. But it's something that can add tremendous value. Imagine not one Kareem, but 10 Kareems, 10 unicorns, 10 companies valued at $1 billion. Imagine the economic, the social, the cultural impact that it will have on entrepreneurship, on Pakistan, on the young people, giving them an inspiration, giving them direction. So I think the role of the NICs was fantastic. Unfortunately, because of the operational issues, it became almost impossible to continue to support. And when it looked like the NIC was reaching the end of its 5-year project term, because it wasn't a company, it was a project, there was a very real chance that the NICs would close down, and they actually did for a while. So, that was really a weird situation to be in. I was happy though that it was all sorted eventually. The NICs are back on track. Everything's going fine. So I wish you guys more power, and will continue to remain a supporter of NIC Karachi in particular, or NIC, as I love to call it. So anyway, in the meantime, have yourselves a great day, and I will see you on the other side to talk about my journey with TMT Ventures. Bye for now. And by the way, isn't it a beautiful day in Istanbul? Look at this place. That's just unbelievable. Istanbul is fast becoming my favorite city to visit. The people, the energy, the culture, the vibe is just phenomenal. Anyway, sorry. Love you guys. Bye.